What if everything you've heard about protein is missing part of the story? Scroll through social media and you'll find fitness influencers telling you to eat more protein. Protein shakes, protein bars, protein coffee, protein everything. The message seems clear: if you want to build muscle, prevent aging, and stay strong, you need lots of protein. But there's a fascinating problem with that narrative. Some of the healthiest and longest-lived people ever studied weren't following high-protein diets at all. In fact, many centenarians from Okinawa, Japan, people who lived well into their 90s and 100s, ate diets centered largely around plants. And yet many remained active, independent, and physically capable far longer than most people in the modern world. So how is that possible? If building and preserving muscle required massive amounts of animal protein, Okinawa's centenarians shouldn't exist. Yet they do. And what they reveal may completely change the way we think about muscle maintenance, healthy aging, and protein itself. Today we're not arguing that protein doesn't matter. It absolutely does. But what if muscle preservation is about much more than simply eating more protein? And what if the real secret has been hiding in plain sight all along? The great protein obsession. Over the last decade, protein has become nutrition's biggest superstar. Walk through any grocery store and you'll see protein cereal, protein cookies, protein ice cream, protein water. It's almost as if we've been taught that more protein automatically equals more health. But here's the question nobody asks: how much protein is enough? And at what point does chasing protein distract us from other factors that matter just as much? Because while many people focus intensely on hitting protein targets, rates of obesity, diabetes, metabolic disease, and frailty continue to rise. Clearly there's more to the story. And that's where Okinawa enters the conversation. Because when researchers began studying Okinawan centenarians, they found something unexpected. These individuals weren't simply eating differently. They were aging differently. The Okinawan paradox. For decades, Okinawa has fascinated researchers. The region became famous for its unusually high concentration of centenarians. Many reached advanced ages while remaining remarkably active and independent. What made this especially interesting was their diet. Historically, traditional Okinawans consumed sweet potatoes, vegetables, legumes, soy foods, sea vegetables. Animal foods were present but generally not the centerpiece of every meal. By modern fitness standards, many would consider their protein intake modest. Yet these populations displayed exceptional longevity, low rates of chronic disease, extended physical function. This creates a fascinating question. If high protein alone explains muscle preservation, why were these populations thriving? Perhaps we need to expand the conversation. Not beyond protein, but beyond protein alone. The missing piece: muscle is not built in the kitchen alone. One of the biggest misconceptions in health is the idea that muscle maintenance begins and ends with food. It doesn't. Muscle is a biological adaptation. Your body keeps muscle when it believes that muscle is needed. Think about the daily life of a traditional Okinawan. Many spent decades gardening, walking, squatting, carrying, standing, working outdoors. Not because they were exercising. Because it was simply how they lived. Movement wasn't a one-hour event. It was woven into every day. Modern life often flips this equation. Many people sit for 10 hours and then try to compensate with one gym session. The Okinawan lifestyle suggests that daily movement may be one of the most powerful muscle-preserving tools available. But movement is only one piece. The next factor may be even more important because it directly affects how your body responds to food itself. Metabolic health, the hidden muscle protector. When people think about muscle loss, they often think about aging. But researchers increasingly recognize another major factor: metabolic dysfunction. Poor insulin sensitivity, chronic inflammation, excess body fat. These can all interfere with healthy muscle maintenance. Traditional Okinawan diets were rich in fiber, antioxidants, phytonutrients, whole plant foods. These foods help support metabolic health and reduce chronic inflammation. In other words, it's not just about how much protein enters your mouth. It's also about how effectively your body can use it. A healthier metabolic environment creates better conditions for preserving muscle over time. And this may explain why populations consuming moderate protein can still maintain impressive physical function. Why plants may be doing more than we realize. Plants often get discussed mainly in terms of vitamins and minerals. But they may provide benefits that go far beyond basic nutrition. Plant foods contain thousands of biologically active compounds. These compounds may help reduce inflammation, protect blood vessels, support gut health, improve recovery, promote healthy aging. In other words, plants may help create the internal environment that allows muscles and tissues to remain functional longer. This doesn't mean plants replace protein. It means they may help make the entire system work better. And that's a distinction many conversations miss. Which brings us to perhaps the most important lesson of all. The lesson that ties everything together. The 5-part equation for healthy aging. The Okinawan story isn't anti-protein. Far from it. Protein matters. Strength training matters. But the evidence suggests they're part of a larger system. The people who age successfully often combine multiple advantages. They eat enough protein. They stay physically active. They consume nutrient-dense foods. They maintain metabolic health. And most importantly, they do these things consistently for years. Not weeks. Not months. Decades. That's a very different mindset from chasing quick fixes. In conclusion, the real lesson from Okinawa. The modern world often encourages us to search for one magic nutrient, one superfood, one supplement, one answer. But the Okinawan Centenarians remind us that health rarely works that way. Longevity appears to emerge from patterns, daily habits, simple behaviors repeated over a lifetime. Protein is important. Muscle is important. Strength is important. But perhaps the bigger question isn't, how much protein should I eat? Perhaps it's, what kind of lifestyle allows someone to remain strong, capable, and independent for 100 years? And that may be the most valuable lesson Okinawa has to offer. The lesson from Okinawa isn't that protein doesn't matter. It's that living to 100 with strength and independence may require looking beyond protein and focusing on the entire ecosystem that keeps muscle healthy for a lifetime. If this video changed the way you think about protein and healthy aging, let us know in the comments. What's one habit from the Okinawan lifestyle you would be willing to adopt? And if you enjoyed this deep dive into nutrition and longevity, subscribe for more evidence-based insights into living healthier, longer, and stronger.